Education. Ms. Weaver Watts, please.
Thank you very much. 8.01, an update from Dr. Len Repper on 2021-2022 academic achievement data. The floor is yours, Dr. Repper.
Thank you, Danielle. Kat, can I have you click for me? Okay, thanks. So what we want to do this evening is give an update based on the academic achievement data from last school year. We do have all the data that is now in, so we wanted to take a moment to walk through and share what occurred during last school year. So our first slide would be, as we're looking at the academic achievement data, we're looking specifically at the PSSAs, which is elementary and middle school, as well as the Keystones. There are students at the middle school that do take the algebra keystone for math, but the other keystones that are involved are the biology and the English literature that occur at the high school. So as we take a look at the specific data here, you can see we included the last 2 years, well, this last year and the year prior. The year that is missing is the COVID year. We do not have any because we did not assess during that year, so we included the prior year, which is the 2018-2019, which is pre-pandemic. And as we take a look at the areas of ELA, you can see that at the elementary level, there has been a decrease in the proficiency as you look at the previous years, but there will be an item in education that we'll be speaking about a little bit regarding a program that we believe will help provide some fidelity and some consistency among the schools. When you look at the middle school, you can see that there has been an increase regarding proficiency even over the last 2 years, and even the high school with a rebound regarding the English literature from last year to 81.1%. Regarding math, one of the questions that I received is, Dr. Repper, why are the math scores so low? Well, when you take a look at math is something that is done in sequence. Students need to obtain the skills as they're going through the different grade levels. And what we had seen that had occurred is where that drop occurred between 2018 and 19 to 2020, 2021, that was our COVID year. But it wasn't just in Southern New York County School District that there was a decrease. Across the state, all of the scores had decreased across the state when it comes to math. Now, we got the elementary, they're at 47, the middle school at 36, and the high school with the Keystones at 86. So when we compare ourselves to the county, okay, even at a 36.3% for middle school, that's number 2 in the county. That's number 2 in the county when you're looking at suburban, Dallastown, Northeastern, the other school districts. So I want to point that out, that not only do we look at where we are, we take a look at where we're compared to other districts, specifically to the academic performance. And then in the science areas, you can see that there has been, in the 80s to 70%, and even, with the high school regarding their Keystone. But where the high school falls into place with the Keystone exams, they're in the top 3 in the county when you're looking at the results in all the categories. So we're still maintaining our position, if not increasing our position, where our students are. Regarding the Keystone, our students have the opportunity, if they're not proficient, that they can retake that Keystone exam that next year. The high school has put in support measures for those students, to receive, that extra support prior to taking that assessment the second time. And another note I want to point out is we're in a transition in science in adding new standards, the next generation standards for science. So those are where they've been adopted. So over the next 2 years, we'll be rolling those out as a district and rewriting the curriculum to make sure we are, meeting those standards. Our teachers are already doing that because they're trying to stay ahead of the curve, creating great opportunities for our students to be successful. If we go to the next slide, the last one was based on performance. This is based on growth. So when you look at growth for our students, this is how did they grow as a school. So we receive through the Future Ready Index, we receive a report card of how our schools have performed. And when you look at the elementary, the middle school, and the high school, there has been growth across the board, which I want to say, if I was sitting in this chair last year, I could not have said that. So there's been some amazing instruction that have occurred coming out of the instruction. Now the performance, when you look at the previous slide, we're showing 36%, 40% in mathematics in middle school and the elementary. But now when you take a look at the growth, our students are making growth based on the prediction of where the students are to be. So how they figure that out is every student across the state is factored in, and they figure out where that student should be projected, for that next assessment. So we have seen, tremendous growth in some areas that we haven't, and that goes back to, from public comment, we have amazing teachers in our district, and they're continuing to do amazing things for our students, and that growth is continuing to increase. Now, when you take a look at the state average, Dr. Bryson said to me, hey, Dr. Reppert, why is it 76%, for elementary, middle school, and high school? Well, what the state has determined is that percentage is across the board. So they're looking at the state average of 76%, and we're looking to exceed those percentages, meet or exceed those percentages. Those will increase, over time, but where we are as a district, we're seeing that area of growth in those areas. Go ahead, Kat. Now we're taking a look. These assessments are specific to the high school. When we're looking at how the students compared on the SAT, and our high school students are trending with the state and national performance, even though you see a negative trend regarding the specific data. So when I say the negative trend, you take a look at the class of 2021, for the evidence-based reading and writing, of a 564, and, we're looking at the class of 2022 at a 555. But you can see that even at the state level and the national level, there has been a negative trend. So we're maintaining kind of where we were, but, within the trend of what is occurring within other schools and throughout the state and throughout the nation. The next slide, specific to ACT scores, what we have noticed, and Dr. Mullen had shared this, and you can see that, we had, from 2021 to 2022, we had 4 additional students that had taken the ACT. But the one thing I wanted to share regarding the SATs and the ACTs, that the high school teachers, they're not designing their curriculum around these assessments. So what's occurring is our students are gathering and getting that knowledge from all the great things that are occurring within, and they're performing, very well, compared to, the national average. If you look at national average was 19.8 compared to the 24.6 when you're looking at the average. So kudos to the high school and the staff for everything they're doing to prepare our students for these assessments. And the next slide, just to kind of take a look at the comparison, regarding the percentage of the class. So when you look at the SATs, there's 142, 59.9%. But we're starting to see a decline, based on the ACT because, the college entrance, they're not looking as closely to those as many of us when we went through school and looking at, whether it's SAT or the ACT. So, the ACT will probably see less, and that percentage continue to decrease over time. But, the merit and how our students are performing at the high school, those things are being taken into consideration also as they're moving on to post-secondary.
Dr. Repper, real quick too, it's SAT and ACT is losing participation greatly. It started before the pandemic, then they stopped testing for a period of time, and each year there's a significant list of universities are dropping it as a requirement. So some of you're seeing that kids are just not opting to take it if the university they're interested in isn't requiring it. So agree, disagree, that's a trend throughout.
Thank you, Dr. Bryson. And then for the next slide here, looking at the AP courses, though you see a decrease in number of assessments that were taken from the previous year, focus on that percentage of students scoring a 3 or higher, a 72.06, which, really shows that our students are well prepared, not only when they're taking those courses, but also prepared when they're taking the assessment. And then the last piece of data that we received from the high school was regarding post-secondary and college placement. So as you're looking at, maybe the trend 5, 10, maybe years ago, you might have seen a higher percentage of students that were going to post-secondary, to school, college. But we're seeing that students are coming out of school with the skills, and the amazing things that our high school's doing now, but even with the building project, what they're going to be able to do, our students are going to be able to come out with skills to go right into the workforce. And then also that percentage of students in the armed forces, we thank them for their commitment in serving our country. But, we still have a percentage of students that are still going into the armed forces. So I wanted to share that information, not only regarding the achievement data, but growth, more specifically, because we look at achievement data from year to year. You really can't see, unless you're following that cohort of students when they're taking the PSSAs, if they're maintaining their proficiency. But for us, the one thing that we have focused on over the years is, are we growing our students, and are we providing them opportunities to be successful? And what we have seen has been that is occurring within our district.
Real quick, just to add to that too, I think we administratively